If you run a company or manage a team, hiring qualified people quickly can make or break your business. Imagine a position of need going unfilled for weeks or even months because you just can't seem to find the right candidate. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people you want faster. This makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts. You only pay for results on your job post. Just in the last minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Now that is fast. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. Listeners will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Go to Indeed.com/BWN right now to support this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply.
Mochi Health is here to help you start your weight loss journey with caring, personalized support. Meet one-on-one with board-certified obesity doctors and registered dietitians who truly listen and understand your unique needs. Eligible patients can access affordable GLP-1 medications delivered right to their door each month. No insurance? No problem. Mochi Health accepts FSA and HSA, making care accessible and affordable. And with 24/7 customer service, you'll never feel alone on your path to better health. Get started with Mochi Health today. Take the free quiz at joinmochi.com and use code AUDIO40 at checkout for $40 off your first month of membership. That's joinmochi.com with promo code AUDIO40.
What's up, guys? It's three-time NFL Pro Bowler, all-decade return specialist, Josh Cribbs. I want to welcome you to the Mac Sports Connection podcast, where Alex hosts all things Mac, all things football, all things sports, right here, Mac Sports Connection, baby. The Mid-American Conference best, bringing it only the greats, Mac, to everyone.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Mac Sports Connection podcast, part of the Varsity Podcast Network, presented by Learfield. I'm Alex. Joining me, as always, is Graham. Graham, welcome back. It's been, I can't believe it. We're at the end of April. We're past Easter. We're just a couple of days away from May, which means conference tournament time is right around the corner.
That's right. We've got most sports wrapped up for the year. We're already getting hyped about football again. You know, that football hype never really goes away in the Mid-American Conference. But yeah, plenty of hype left over for our spring sports. And you know, especially me, very excited about the MAC baseball tournament that's coming up here soon.
You a big baseball guy? I had no idea. No, you're right. We've got the MAC baseball tournament, MAC softball tournament, and the MAC lacrosse tournament. I believe the final three championships left for the Mid-American Conference here in 2025. And then we get our summer hiatus, and then we hit the ground running come August for college football, soccer, field hockey, all the above. It's a wonderful time of year, Graham.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's not. It's objectively not. I love tournament baseball, and I love especially the College World Series. But there's so much more going on in the fall and the winter. So, but you know what? Focus on baseball. Love that.
Absolutely. We've got a couple things. We'll just dive right into this. I'm going to start off with lacrosse. We have the lacrosse field set for the Mid-American Conference Championship. Top 4 teams advance to the lacrosse tournament, and we have 3 teams tied at the top of the Mid-American Conference standings. In fact, I'm going to pull those standings up right here while we're talking about this. Akron is going to the tournament. We've got Akron, Robert Morris, Eastern Michigan, and Detroit Mercy. Now, there are 7 teams in the Mid-American Conference in lacrosse. And what's interesting about this tournament, a staple since the inception of this tournament, Central Michigan will not be in this tournament for the first time in tournament history, which is incredible to think about. How, this tournament's been around 6 years now, I believe 5-6 years, and times are changing. You've got Akron kind of taking their spot again. Those three schools, Akron, Robert Morris, and Eastern Michigan, sitting at 4-2. And then Detroit Mercy sitting at 3-3. First round games will be Robert Morris and Detroit Mercy, while Eastern Michigan and Akron take each other on in the first round of the MAC tournament. Should be exciting. Looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, that's the we're not necessarily the biggest of lacrosse fans here, but yeah, I'd love to see Akron in the tournament always, and surprising to see Central out of this lacrosse tournament, but should be exciting, and it'll wrap up another spring sport here.
Absolutely. We've got baseball and softball, like we mentioned. Those are coming to an end. Softball, we're just, I think, a week and a half away from the conference tournament. Yeah, we've got another week. A week of softball here. I'm getting my sports mixed up, Graham. We got another week of softball here. Looking at this Ohio schedule. Ohio, by the way, sitting atop of the Mid-American Conference. They were the first team to clinch a postseason bid to the MAC tournament. Right behind them, chomping on their heels, is the Miami Redhawks, of course, alongside Central Michigan. Then Ball State sitting at 4th. Akron at 5th, and Northern Illinois at 6th. Top 6 advance to this tournament. They go to Akron, Ohio.
That's
and
right. Firestone
it's going to be a fun
Stadium
race
in Akron,
up here
Ohio.
at the end. Say that again.
It's the tournament is at Firestone Stadium in Akron, Ohio. Which, if you haven't been to Firestone Stadium, a really excellent softball venue, right. And it's a really cool place to host the Mid-American Softball Tournament.
I've not been there, but that doesn't prevent you guys from going there. So go check it out here. May 7th through 9th. We've got, again, another week and a half of games. Looks like everybody's got about 2 series left. And those 2 series are going to be pretty critical. I'm looking at teams who are still alive for this tournament. You got Toledo and Buffalo sitting there at 7 and 8 in the conference. Western Michigan sitting at 9. And I really think that this is the bottom portion of this. Northern Illinois, Toledo, Buffalo, Western Michigan. Any one of those 4 teams could clinch that final spot. Obviously, Ohio's locked up one of the bids, but that doesn't guarantee that they've locked up the top spot. They've got some tough tests here coming up. They're going to be taking on Ball State and then at Western Michigan to wrap this thing up before heading to Akron. And I don't know, this Ohio team, they've been playing really well as of late. Obviously 16-5 over in the Mid-American Conference, 33-14 overall. They've been hitting well. They've been pitching well. Currently just a 1-game win streak, but anything can happen, especially here in the bottom half. I would say that the teams to kind of circle right now as we get ready to head to Akron are Akron, Northern Illinois, Toledo, Buffalo, and Western Michigan. Those 5 could take those bottom 2 spots in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's it's not anybody's game, but it is pretty wide open right now. As far as softball goes, we record this on Monday nights, and unfortunately, softball doesn't post their players of the week in the conference until Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So we missed out last week on last week's players of the week, but we got them for you this week. That's softball players of the week for the week ending in what day is that? It's the week ending on the 18th.
Yeah.
So for that week, there's Bryn Libler, is an infielder for Kent State.
Mm-hmm.
She extended her hitting streak to 12 games at the time, and she posted a 556 batting average, 600 and 833 slash line to lead Kent State at the plate over 5 games. She recorded 3 multi-hit games, including a 4-for-4 performance in a doubleheader against Buffalo. So just a great job there for Bryn Libler out of Kent State. Pitcher of the week, Skip Miller, who is a redshirt junior from Ohio. She was in full force, making an appearance in 4 games while making 3 starts. She went 2-0 with while throwing 19 innings and recorded only a .37 ERA. Okay. So, an incredible performance there. And, if you're interested in the MAC softball players of the week, it will be posted by the time you're hearing this. So you can hop on over to the MAC website and see those players of the week there.
Good stuff. Graham, let's talk about some baseball. We've got, hats off to the Toledo Rockets taking care of business in Columbus last week, getting 11-5, 11-6 victory over the Ohio State Buckeyes in Columbus. Toledo had a big second half of that game to pull the come from behind victory. And that's Toledo's second win over a Big Ten opponent this season. Beat Oregon in one of the games in the opening series, and now you beat Ohio State on the road for the one-off. If you're Toledo, you're pretty happy with that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to mention how weird it is that Oregon's in the Big Ten because I think we've talked about that enough. That's Toledo's got to be happy with that performance. That's this past weekend. We saw Kent State take 2 of 3 in their rivalry series against Akron. So Kent State with some more wagon wheel victories there. And then we had a close one between Western Michigan and Northern Illinois on Friday night. Western Michigan 16, Northern Illinois 15. So for fans of hitting, that may have been your game of the week.
That's I think it's been interesting that we see some of these high scoring affairs here in conference play. It's been a lot of fun to watch, especially if you're a fan of one of these teams. Looking at these standings for the Mid-American Conference, something that kind of sticks out to me. You mentioned Western Michigan, Western and Central both, as it stands right now, don't make it to Avon for the MAC tournament, which is wild.
Yeah. 2 teams we picked as now we never had them as sure things, but 2 teams we picked early on as the kind of rounding out that those teams that would go to Avon. Certainly possible. The baseball season is a little bit longer than the softball season, so we've got until I think the first day of the tournament is May 21st. So we've still got about a month of baseball left, a little bit less. So there's a chance that these teams can turn it around, but right now they're on the outside looking in.
It's and what kind of blows my mind with this is we were just talking, and this is what's crazy about the standings, right? We were just talking 2 weeks ago. Toledo was on the outside looking in. Bowling Green was sitting at second in the conference. Kent State was rising in the ranks, but they were sitting at 5th. And these rankings, the only consistent in the rankings has been Ball State sitting atop. They're 33-14 on the year, 17-4 in conference play, and they're finding their stride right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Miami has also been within the top 2 or 3 all year long. So this is the year if you got red jerseys. This is the year for you. Although maybe not so much Northern Illinois and even Central Michigan. I don't know. We call that red, and I think
maroon.
I think the Chippewas call that a maroon.
Yeah. I think you just insulted everybody in Mount Pleasant, folks. I'm really sorry for my co-host here. That's
right. But on average, a red jersey will get you closer to the top of the standings in baseball, at least in 2025. That's Kent State started the year a little bit slow, but really we've watched them. They've been hanging in there. They started the season with a few more tough opponents, and so as we've come into conference play, Kent State has taken exactly the position we thought they'd be in. It seems right now in the standings we've got the top 4 and then everybody else. Ball State at the top, Kent State, Miami, Bowling Green are our top 4. After that, it is anyone's game, and so it will be similar to softball. It'll be interesting to see who takes those last spots in Avon, just because this is a 6 teams go. And Toledo is only up one game on the rest of the field for those last two spots. So should be interesting. Running down the standings here, Ball State at the top, 17-4, as you mentioned. Kent State 16-5 in the conference. Miami 18-6. Bowling Green 16-8. Toledo 10-11. Eastern Michigan 9-12. Central Michigan 9-12. Western Michigan 8-13. Akron 7-17. Northern Illinois 5-16, and Ohio at 5-16. Kind of surprised to see the Bobcats at the bottom of this list. Not that I ever had them as an Avon team, but I am surprised to see them as basement dwellers in the conference.
Yeah, I am too. It kind of comes as a shock. But when you get run ruled in 2 of your 3 games against Kent State, when Kent State, by the way, who has 5 run rules in their last 8 games, which feels insane for college baseball, but here we are, go Flashes. But just kind of looking at some of what Ohio's done this year, they've just struggled. Like, we'll just put it frankly, like you said, 10-32 overall, but they've played some big time programs. Like they've played West Virginia, they've played Butler, who Butler has been okay at baseball. Like they've not been a national power, but they've been great. But then you start conference play off against Bowling Green. Then you travel to Central Michigan. I know that they've dealt with a litany of injuries as well. So that's been a big part of some of their struggles this year. But, they've not scheduled overall easy opponents. And they've got a tough conference slate that they have to run through. Like this conference schedule hasn't been kind to them. As maybe you would get an opportunity to play another basement dweller early, and that just really hasn't been the case. They didn't start off with Northern Illinois. They started off with regular season champ Bowling Green from last year, right? So it's just you've tried to find your groove in the non-conference slate, and then you get smacked in the face in the conference slate. It's just it's tough to rebound from that.
Absolutely. So we'll quickly cover the players of the week here for baseball. Player of the week, Dylan Baker from Miami. Baker went 12 for 19 at the plate this week. That's a .632 average, including a perfect 5 for 5 on Saturday in their 18-2 win over Ohio. We talk about losing a big rivalry game like that. Baker racked up 5 doubles, 6 RBIs, and 9 runs throughout the week. So a great week for Dylan Baker from Miami. Pitcher of the week, Eric Chalice from Kent State, who we did talk about in our preseason preview as a potential pitcher of the year. He was stellar in a pair of wins out of the Flashes bullpen on Wednesday in a run rule win. I can't say that even one time fast. Over Youngstown State. He pitched 2 shutout innings, striking out 3 of the 6 batters he faced. He emerged from the Kent State bullpen again on Sunday, delivering 5 more shutout innings while striking out 4 as the Flashes secured a series victory over the Zips. So you're talking about a couple of big performances in rivalry games for our player and pitcher of the week.
I gotta love it, man. I gotta tell you, this is I love it when we heat up with rivalry series. Kent State obviously trying to make up a little bit for football against Akron, and maybe some basketball too. They recognize, hey, we gotta win something here, and they're doing just that. They're doing it in the sport that they that you could argue they are the most dominant in the Mid-American Conference. Pretty good at basketball. Don't want to take that away from them, but I think you could really argue that baseball is the sport that they are the top of the pile here in the MAC.
And it's that consistency for Kent State, coaching consistency has been incredible. Head coaching at Kent State, so that's great job there.
Absolutely.
That's all I got for baseball, Alex. I know you surprised that I'm not going to keep talking about baseball, but I think that wraps us up.
I'll tell you, I'll be very honest. I'm as most folks would know, picked up that mobile Maction project again, trying to build that app out, trying to actually make it so Graham and I can deliver this information a little easier to you guys, but really trying to make it so that you don't even have to listen to us. You can just pull the information up yourself and say, these guys are wrong, and you can call us out directly. In fact, that's what
That's
we
right.
want you to do.
Trying to program our way out of a job.
But speaking of kind of programming our ways out of things, make sure you guys have the Varsity app. That's been such a great app for the Mid-American Conference. It's by Learfield. It's free to download on the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, wherever you find your mobile apps. Download this thing. With that app, you can listen to all the live calls from your favorite Division I college teams. In fact, I'm even seeing it trickling down in Division II and Division III as well. Your favorite calls from the voices across the MAC, Big Ten, and many more. Sign up to save your favorite schools, sports, and content for easy access. You're also going to find hundreds of great podcasts through the Varsity Podcast Network available in the app for free, including fan favorites such as the Mac Sports Connection podcast, Group of Five Guys podcast, Sickos Committee podcast, and many more. Make sure you guys download that Varsity app for free today. Start listening to every single call and podcast that brings your teams and conferences to life. Graham, we had a pretty big event this weekend. I don't know if you were aware, but the NFL draft was happening. And so we had the NFL draft going on, and a few MAC guys got taken.
Yeah, as a Browns fan, you know that our first round pick in several years, we're going to be excited about that. And you know, the NFL draft, always an exciting time to talk about these MAC guys and see where our favorites end up. That's the MAC had 4 players drafted in this year's draft. And, you know, some of our favorite guys that we've been talking about all football season got out there. You know, I was kind of hoping that Darius Alexander would go a little bit earlier than he did, but first pick of the 3rd round, nothing wrong with that.
Well, when you get the first 2 of the first 3 picks of the 3rd round, Darius Alexander and then Harold Fana Jr. just 2 picks later, that bodes well for the conference. Be honest, Graham, I know being a Toledo alumni, you know, you can never cheer for Bowling Green publicly, but I feel like that Harold Fannin pick for Cleveland, that's a solid pick.
It's absolutely a solid pick, if only because it means that that Harold Fannin Jr. doesn't have to change his wardrobe. He can just keep all the orange and brown. No, it's a great pick for Cleveland. I think he was classified in the draft as a tight end / H-back, which is how I expect him to be used. Cleveland already has a stud tight end in David Njoku. And so this is I think this is a great situation for Harold Fannin Jr., who can go out there and learn from one of the top guys in the league. At the same time, defenses are not going to be able to focus on him in Stefanski's 2 tight end sets, which he loves to run. So this is a great opportunity for Harold Fannin. You know, the one ding on Fannin is his blocking ability. And so we'll see if that develops a little bit more in the NFL. But you know, you mentioned as a Toledo fan, we don't really want to root for Bowling Green guys, but I'll tell you what, after Harold Fannin just torched us in that rivalry game this year, I am happy to have him on my side. So finally, that's not mad about that at all.
No, absolutely. I think that, you know, for me, you know, looking at Darius Alexander, if you're a Toledo person, you probably are like, man, we only had him for 2 years. Well, he only started for 2 years. He was behind a bunch of other pro level NFL guys, and now he gets to reunite with one over in New York. And I'm so excited about this because now you're gonna get to see him have an opportunity to shine on the NFL stage. This is a big pick for the Giants. And I think that he's going to make an impact. Even if not day one, he's going to work his way into that starting lineup over the course of the season. We all know what he can do. We know that, you know, he had a great bowl game. He had a great season this year. He had a great combine and a Senior Bowl. And, you know, everybody's talking about him initially kind of being a 4th or 5th round pick, and he just kept climbing up the board. And I think the Giants saw the value in him. And I think this is a massive pickup for the Giants because that they can utilize his size and speed early on in what is a pretty shambled defense.
Well, that's the Giants are really focused on bolstering their defensive line in not just this draft, but the past couple of drafts. And so I think this is a pass rush and a defensive line that are just going to eat for New York. And we're going to start talking about this group as a group of quarterback killers. So this is a great landing spot for them. They have a ton of talent on the line in New York now, and just rotating through those guys. He might not see as much playing time as he would elsewhere, but I think the fact that New York's defensive line is so talented means that he's not going to draw the double teams he might draw elsewhere. It's going to open him up. I'm very excited for this landing spot for Darius Alexander.
He'll be joining, again, former Toledo Rocket Deontay Johnson. Not the wide receiver, but
the other Deontay Johnson.
Toledo's had two of them in the past couple of years, which is pretty wild to think about. So he'll be teaming up with his former teammate Johnson, only having 2 years in the NFL so far. So these guys shared a Toledo locker room, and now they'll share an NFL locker room. Again, Harold Fannin, he broke 21 Bowling Green records in his time at BG. And he was a back-to-back first-team All-MAC selection. We don't need to kind of go over his accolades. We all know he owns the regular season record receiving yards. He dominated as a receiver for Bowling Green. But his Senior Bowl performance was not what he wanted. There's a lot of speculation about him being better than what Tyler Warren out of Penn State. And whether or not he deserved that tight end award. But I'll be honest, and we've talked about that on the show, I was not overly impressed with his Senior Bowl, and it seemed like scouts tended to agree with us.
Well, his Senior Bowl performance wasn't very impressive, and then frankly his combine wasn't very impressive. So between those two things. That we were talking about, who is the best tight end in this class? Is it Tyler Warren? Is it Harold Fannin Jr.? Is it Colston Loveland from Michigan? And ultimately, the Senior Bowl and the Combine separated Harold Fannin from those other guys in a negative way. Moved him down draft boards. I'm not upset about him getting pushed far enough down that the Cleveland Browns could take him. But there is something to say about that. The league looks at the MAC, and I think you and I agree here unfairly as a lesser league, and so oftentimes incredible accomplishments like Harold Fannin, who just dominated this year, they get overlooked because in the eyes of the league, in the eyes of many college football fans. The MAC competition doesn't count. So, I think we use the Senior Bowl, especially, and the Combine, less so as the equalizer for our favorite MAC guys. Unfortunately, that didn't work out this year. So, now that being said, third round is not a bad place for a tight end to get drafted. No. And I'm certainly like as I mentioned before, I think the Cleveland Browns are a fine place for a tight end to land.
Well, and I think too, what we have to keep in mind, and what hopefully NFL folks will keep in mind, he's only 20 years old. I mean, he is young. He was one of the youngest draft prospects in the NFL draft this year, and so he was playing football at Bowling Green at the age of 17. So people just need to, give him a little bit of time. I think, he got a perfect landing spot with David Njoku as the guy he's going to learn from. That's a huge get. And that's a huge learning opportunity from one of the best tight ends in the NFL, especially one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL.
That's I mean, we'll see what happens next, but I'm excited for Harold Fannin Jr. Harold Fannin Jr.'s rise
like Carl
in the NFL.
Jr.
That's right. Carl's Jr. and Hardy's. Speaking of hardy players, Western Michigan turns out hardy players. And in this case, turned out a quite hardy player in cornerback Bilal Cohn, taken in the 6th round. That's 178th overall by the Baltimore Ravens. This is, following Harold Fannin Jr., this became the AFC North loves Mac guys. So that's we had Harold Fannin Jr. going to the Cleveland Browns. Bilal Cohn goes to the Baltimore Ravens, and spoiler alert: Dante Kent goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So AFC North fans rejoice that we're going to see a lot of Mac guys in the future. Bilal Cohn, cornerback, 6th round. It's a Baltimore, not an especially crowded defensive back room. So there's certainly room to play here. Cohn played both corner and safety at Western, so who knows how Baltimore is going to use him. It seems like the early indications are he'll probably be a corner there, but who knows? A versatile defensive back for the Baltimore Ravens, and I hope he sucks. Just as a Browns fan, but we'll see.
That's no, Bilal Cohn. What's interesting is, and this is a topic I want to get into with you in a minute. So he started his college career at Iowa Central Community College, the ICCC. Yeah, 3 C's. Yep. And then transferred to FCS Indiana State over in Terre Haute, Indiana, and then Western Michigan for 2 years. But I think. So I guess we'll bring it up here since you've already mentioned Dante Kent. My question for you is, at what point do you say this is a Mac product, right? So and I say this only because we had other former Mac guys drafted. In fact, 3 other former Mac guys drafted in CJ West, Curtis Rourke, and Kanata Mumfield. I think you say CJ West and Curtis Rourke are Mac guys. They played 1 year at Indiana. I don't think that you say Kanata Mumfield is. I think you say
no way.
In the Mac for a year.
Kanata Mumfield is a Pittsburgh product, and so that's I think that's the way that works. Unfortunately, the way things are, unfortunately or fortunately, the way things are set up. We talk about which guys get drafted by a conference based on where they finish their career. So we kind of did a 2-for-2 trade this year in terms of guys. So I'm not mad about it. And frankly, loved Curtis Rourke's season at Indiana, and talking about an Ohio product ending up at Indiana and really having an incredible season. Where guys were talking about potentially getting drafted early, I think that changed a little bit when we started to see Indiana in those bigger games towards the end of the season against Ohio State, especially. So. But Curtis Rourke, certainly talented, and led those Ohio Bobcats for so many years.
2020 to 2023, man.
So all that being said, certainly we get credit for Bilal Cohn and Dante Kent, but I don't know that we necessarily deserve it as a conference. Happy to see those guys drafted, though. Mentioned Bilal Cohn goes to the Ravens. Central Michigan's Dante Kent. I don't think we mentioned he's from Central. Central Michigan's Dante Kent got taken in the 7th round, 229th overall by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mm-hmm. So another MAC defensive back. You think that after last year's draft, the league is now keying on, and the league and especially the AFC North are now keying on MAC defensive backs?
Looks like there's a trend leaning that way, and I will not present evidence to the contrary. Mostly because I don't have any.
That's right. Well, we hope that the NFL has taken notice of some of our stud players. You mentioned that we had a couple of MAC transfers get drafted. We'll just quickly go through that. CJ West, defensive tackle, formerly of Kent State, went to Indiana. Drafted in the 4th round by the San Francisco 49ers. Curtis Rourke, similar thing. at Ohio, then went to Indiana for a year. He gets drafted in the 7th round, 227th overall by also San Francisco 49ers. That's these guys can't get enough of each other. And then Kanata Mumfield, who only spent a year in Akron, gets drafted in the 7th round, 242nd overall pick by the Los Angeles Rams. So I think Mumfield is solidly a Pittsburgh product, but
and I'm fine with that. But I do wish that like the NFL draft would show like drafted out of Indiana, played 4 years at Ohio. Like I wish they would show that as well. Like say, hey, look, this is a guy who pursued an opportunity to try to better himself. Which no ill will towards Curtis Rourke, right? And I think that's the sentiment of obviously the CJ West folks who saw him graduate from Kent State. He spent 4 years there, and then same thing with Curtis Rourke. He graduated with 2 degrees from Ohio in his time there, and then went and worked on another one, I guess, at Indiana. I don't know if he officially graduated or not, but yeah. So I don't think that there's any ill will towards any of these guys, and there shouldn't be, right? I know that we've talked about transfer rules, things like that. I don't think that there's any ill will, especially towards guys who spent their entire career at one place, and then, hey, I'm going to go try to just improve my draft stock in Indiana, or similar to DeQuan Finn trying to go to Baylor to improve his draft stock in what should have been his final year. The injuries racked up, and now he's back in the Mid-American Conference, which that's a conversation for another day. I saw some of his tape from the Miami spring game this weekend. But yeah, I guess that's my question is at what point, we know where these guys were developed. It's just the conference doesn't get the credit on the big stage, which I don't know, kind of bums me out a little bit because
like we said,
looked pretty good.
This year, we did kind of a 2-for-2 trade. So I think that's fair. No, everybody remembers Curtis Rourke played for the Ohio Bobcats. So his season at Indiana is good for the conference. That's more people know about Curtis Rourke now. And I didn't watch a single broadcast that didn't mention that he started at Ohio University. Defensive tackles don't get talked about as much. No. So CJ West didn't get that coverage, but I think it evens out. I think with the open transfer portal, it evens out in the end. I did want to run through just very quickly these undrafted free agents, and just super quick here. Defensive back Paul Lewis from the Akron Zips. These are in alphabetical order by MAC team. Defensive back Paul Lewis III from the Akron Zips is to Minnesota Vikings on a minicamp invitation. Defensive lineman Nathan Kapongo, also from the Zips, going to the Kansas City Chiefs on a minicamp invitation. For Bowling Green, quarterback Connor Bazelak is going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're laughing because I mispronounced Bazelak, but
I am a little bit. And I know you're going to mispronounce him. Jordan Oladukin is the next guy up. And, another Bowling Green product. And then the last one, Chase Davis going to Kansas City on a minicamp invitation. Oladukin going to the Chargers. Doesn't say with a minicamp invitation. It looks like they're just signing him as an undrafted free agent. And they should. He was an excellent player for Bowling Green. And Bazelak both excellent.
Yeah, so that's the Bazelak and actually both of those guys who I expected to be signed by teams. This is the one that surprised me didn't get drafted from Buffalo. Sean Dolak, who led the nation in tackles this year, linebacker Sean Dolak does end up with the Los Angeles Rams, who have a history of drafting stud linebackers from smaller schools. We'll see if he works out there. Hopefully he does. Sean Dolak had such a great career at Buffalo. Surprised he didn't get drafted. Moving quickly through that, wide receiver Taji Johnson from Buffalo goes to the New York Jets on a minicamp invitation. And punter Ethan Dwayne, I can't talk today, Alex, stays in Buffalo, goes to the Bulls.
Goes across the street.
Bulls. And he's on a minicamp invitation. Central Michigan has offensive lineman Braden Swartout Goodness gracious, Alex, you're going to have to help me here. Goes to Indianapolis Colts on a minicamp invitation. I'll let you take over.
Dominic Serapiglia, the third, goes to Pittsburgh on a minicamp invitation. He's out of Central Michigan as well. And then we all know this name. Everybody knows this name. I'm pretty sure children all across the country know the name Cole Snyder out of Eastern Michigan. He's going, well, just across the state.
Similarly,
to the Detroit Lions on a minicamp invitation. Matt Harmon, he's heading up to Minnesota per Kent State football, the linebacker out of Kent State. We've got moving on to the Miami Redhawks, and they've got 4 guys going out. Reed Holsky going to the Baltimore Ravens. Again, the AFC North, loving those MAC guys.
Love MAC guys.
Cade McDonald, and I really love Cade McDonald. I love watching this kid play. He is going to LA.
Well, he has minicamp invites from both Las Vegas, the Raiders, as well as the Baltimore Ravens. So we'll see where he decides to go. You know, we announced Cade McDonald's name about 1,000 times since we've been covering Miami football. So not surprising to see him there. The only guy we may have mentioned more than Cade McDonald is Brett Gabbert, who again, Miami to Miami. This guy going from the Redhawks to the Dolphins, very different animals. Defensive lion Brian Ugu. I love this one because this one I know how to pronounce, and I'm not sure that you do. Has minicamp invites from Baltimore Ravens and as well as the Indianapolis Colts. NIU folks. That's oh goodness, safety Nate Valcarcel is a signed by the Los Angeles Rams. Defensive lineman Devontae O'Malley. Tennessee Titans. Fullback Brock Lamp is going to the New England Patriots. Offensive lineman J.J. Lipp is going to the Green Bay Packers. That's cornerback Javon Bird to New Orleans on a minicamp invite. And offensive Logan Zertsnitz. I'm sure that's not even close. To the New York Giants on a minicamp invite.
I love it. It looks like just so far, NIU has the most free agent invites and signees of any other MAC team. They had nobody go in the draft, but they do have on this list, they have 6 so far. Probably expecting a few more to get added to that. Ohio, Anthony Tyus III heading to the state of Michigan to the Detroit Lions. Roman Perotti is heading down to Tampa Bay, while wide receiver Coleman Owens going to head over to Indianapolis. And then offensive lineman Carson Heidecker, he's going to the Atlanta Falcons on a minicamp invitation. And then we get to the last, we'll of course give you UMass as well with them coming into the league. Toledo Rockets, Jerwan Newton, one of the greatest receivers in Toledo history, heading to the Denver Broncos. They're looking for a wide receiver 1, an opportunity for him to shine and possibly be that guy.
Let's talk about the Eagles here, loving the Rockets defense.
I was going to say, we've got a lot of Eagle love. But when you draft Quinyon Mitchell and he does great things for you, you look at Jason Candle, and Nick Sirianni and Jason Candle were college teammates. So like they have a good relationship. But linebacker Lance Dixon heading to Philadelphia, safety Maxon Hook reunited with his backfield and roommate best friend Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyanamo Bay is what I believe they call him in Philadelphia. They'll be reuniting there in Philadelphia. And then tight end Anthony Torres heading to the Los Angeles Rams. He gets to keep his color scheme. A lot of MAC tight ends getting to keep their color scheme. That's
right. I mean, talk about, can we claim MAC guys? We're talking about the UMass Minutemen guys who got signed as undrafted free agents. That's I'm not sure that this should count, considering these weren't MAC games that they played, but that's fine. Wide receiver Jacoby Keeney James is going to the Detroit Lions. Tight end Dominic Mazzotti is going to the Chicago Bears on a minicamp invite, and linebacker Macklin Ayers to the Cleveland Browns on a minicamp invite. So another Browns guy. Finally, of course, our Western Michigan Broncos, offensive lineman Addison West to the Miami Dolphins, and offensive lineman Ted Kushi also to the Miami Dolphins. So exciting all around for some of our MAC guys.
I just want to say for Brett Gabbert, I am so excited for him to get this opportunity to try out for the team, to try to make the team. You and I've talked so much about just how much he's gone through with all of his injuries. And, we thought even after last year, he wasn't going to play a
Oh,
snap of football ever
I
again.
thought there was no chance he was coming back this year, and then he did. And good for him. Certainly a guy you can't talk about without mentioning his mental toughness and fortitude there. And Miami fans will tell you, just an incredible leader on the field. I think at times we've questioned his physical abilities, but certainly have never questioned his toughness and his leadership. So yeah, a great opportunity for him. And who knows? That's MAC guys have found places before as backups and gone in and been long-term backups. They've even gone on to be to work their way up to starters. So certainly an opportunity for Brett Gabbert there. I have no doubt that Sean Dolac is going to be incredible in the NFL. So just give it time. Undrafted free agent means that the team doesn't have that much invested in him. So there's a chance that he doesn't end up as the starter this year, and doesn't necessarily end up sticking with the Rams long term. But I have no doubt he's going to be a stud in this league. So keep your eye on Sean Dolac.
No, I'm with you. Like I said, I'm really excited for all this and all these guys. Good luck to all of them as they fight their way on to NFL rosters. Should be a good time.
And I'm sorry for butchering all of your names. I'm not sorry. That's you come on the show and argue with me.
Worth noting, Mid-American Conference slotted in just behind the Mountain West and the American Athletic Conference in most players drafted from the G5 conferences. So beating out Conference USA and the Sun Belt for most draft picks out of the group of five. So I can't be too upset with that.
Well, I think if you watched MAC football last season, that's about where I put us in terms of conference, in terms of quality, top to bottom, out of the conference.
And the 4 MAC schools with 1 draft pick apiece. And what's interesting is I was a little bit curious. And I've got the net numbers right here. It's just I of course closed out of the window. Like a silly goose that I am. But the new Mountain West, the teams who are leaving the Mountain West for the Pac-12, Pac-2, Pac-8, whatever it's going to be, had a bulk of their draft picks. So Boise State, Colorado State, had half of the draft picks out of the Mountain West. Utah State, of course, staying. Oh no, Utah State is going. So 5 or 4 of the draft picks are going to the new Pac-12. So it's really interesting to see. Excited to see that the MAC might continue to climb up these draft rankings as college football, the landscape keeps changing. But hats off to Jason Candle. I know we're both Toledo guys, so we know this a lot more intimately than others. But what Jason Candle's been able to do, especially in the NIL and the transfer portal era, prior to his time starting at Toledo in 2016, Toledo hadn't had a draft pick in like 6 years.
Right, and
Jason
since then,
11.
Right. So, yeah, just an incredible run. I mean, we were in that kind of purgatory state where MAC guys just weren't getting drafted for a while. Now it seems we've broken through. Now it helps that a couple of these guys have been so successful in the league. So that certainly helps things. But I love the NFL draft as an indicator, a barometer of where the conference stands in relative to other conferences, because NFL guys, as ESPN is so fond of saying, the NFL is in the business of winning, so if you are a solid college player, the NFL wants you. So these teams are going to go out and they're going to find winners, whether it's through the draft or through undrafted free agency. And as MAC guys continue to impress at the next level, the conference gets that added standing, and more guys get drafted, which is good for us all around.
Yes, no, absolutely. And we'll take it. Give us all the draft picks. In fact, you should just reserve the entire first round for Mid-American Conference football players.
Absolutely. Then we can create a new MAC in the NFL.
I love it.
I think
they all go to the
for us
AFC
today,
North.
Alex. That's right. We'll just run the AFC North as the new MAC. We'll call it MAC is back. I don't think anybody said that before.
Not once. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you checking us out. Please like, share, subscribe, review. If you have questions, comments, concerns, complaints, rebuttals, appeals, let us know. We'll take it all. We may not listen. We may listen. Who knows? In fact, we honestly, and I can tell you this based off of conversation with Graham, we love fan feedback. We want to be the best we can be for you guys. So please continue to send those DMs, good, bad, indifferent. We want to make sure that we're giving you the best content we can for the best league in the country. And we love you guys and appreciate all the love and support you continue to show us. Make sure you're checking us out on all the social medias that you can. So close to 4,000 followers on Twitter. We're like 9 away. So make that happen. Help us make that happen. Tell your grandmother to create an account. No, don't tell her to create an account, but tell your grandmother to revive her account and follow us on Twitter. We'd appreciate it. But guys, I think that's going to be it. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with more Maction content. So until then, take care and we'll see you next week.